All right, welcome back, guys. Welding shop safety crash course part 5, electrical safety. We are obviously, when we're welding, we're dealing with high currents and electricity, and current is what kills you with electricity or hurts you with electricity. So the danger of electrical shock is very real. We need to be very careful of it. Few precautions, and it can be curbed up pretty well. Okay. Um, Obviously, we do not want to get caught in the circuit between the ground and the electrode and end up with a electrical situation. All right. Never, ever, ever use electrode holders or guns with missing parts. You can see this stinger is missing the bottom jaw cover. A lot of times the top jaw cover will come up missing and get broken off, or even the handle cover or the black piece on the back. Always make sure that all of your electrical equipment is in good repair. Obviously, the one on the right here is the one you would not want to use. Okay. Electrical wires, make sure they're in good shape. No exposed or frayed wires on your welding cables. It's not uncommon for something to get dropped on them, have a cut in the insulation. So we want to make sure that we take the time to put electrical tape on them or replace the electrical cables as we need to. Obviously, don't weld in wet areas if you can avoid it. Wet and damp areas, you would not want to weld standing in a puddle unless it was absolutely necessary. Obviously, if you had welding cables with frays or cuts in them, that could also become an issue in those areas. Okay. If you do have any issues with equipment, don't use them, all right, with frayed or damaged wires. If you have issues with malfunctioning equipment, make sure you turn it off immediately if it's safe to do so. That should be your very first plan of action. Then come report it to myself, your supervisor, your safety officer, whoever that may be in your place of employment or your school. Okay, so quick story. I had a student a couple years ago. That particular student came to me and told me that they had a missing cover on their electrode holder. I told that student to go get the stinger and bring it to me because it was one that could be disconnected from the machine. The student did that, but what the student neglected to do was to turn the power off to the machine. That particular student grabbed a hold of the stinger. It fell down against that student's hand against the table. That put a burn on one side of the student's hand and actually ended up having to have some physical therapy for some nerve and muscle damage that was done in order to get that student's hand to work the way it had. And so when I say turn it off first, if it's safe to do so, that's the first and foremost and most important thing. If somebody else comes up to that machine while the power is on and you didn't turn it off, that other person not knowing could very easily get injured. So the very first step, turn the power off, then report it and get it fixed immediately. Do not use malfunctioning equipment until it has been addressed and fixed by a certified or qualified person. Okay, so that concludes electrical